Hey guys, today I want to kind of remind you about these moments that I have highlighted while we've been reading. For example, right here when I highlighted this moment where it says 10:01 to 10:02 a.m. because I thought that was weird. I don't normally see that at the start of chapters in books. And so I noted it and tried to figure out why is that in the book. Um, there's other things as I was reading. I had this particular moment, that one, at the end where they have these Twitter messages. That was kind of strange for me. And in the next read aloud, I have additional moments that I thought were strange, awkward, and didn't really seem to make a whole lot of sense. Like, what it really seems like is that the author is trying to either tell me something that I don't already know, or it's trying to hint at a deeper meaning or a conflict or maybe a theme that I'm not sure of yet. And I need to maybe pay attention to why the author included that really kind of weird moment in the text. So, what I do want to teach you today is that as you are reading, good readers do pay attention to moments in the story that seem somehow weird or unexpected. And then they use these moments to make inferences or predictions about the text. Okay, so what I did is I just took note. I jotted down these moments in my virtual notebook here. Okay, and I actually did it in the form of just this quick little chart that I created. It's sort of similar to the one that I actually created for you where I put a date and jots, but I just broke up this column into two separate columns so that I could, one, take down the weird moments, which are those things that kind of hint at a deeper meaning or hint at conflicts or different things like that. And then I could also just respond to what do I think it means, which is so important that when you notice the strange moment or something that doesn't quite seem to fit in place with the story, or that is surprising to you, honestly, if it's surprising to you, you need to try and figure out why the author chose to put it in the story. And most times that's going to include making an inference or a prediction. It could also just have you think of a question or questioning the text and try and figure out what's going on. Maybe you don't know right now. Maybe there isn't enough evidence. And so sometimes what you write about what you think it means after you're examining these weird moments later, maybe you still don't know. And so you're pushing that question even further, and that is also very valuable and important. Okay? Even continuing to ask questions later, reminding yourself of these moments later, and asking yourself a question about it, even that particular action is beneficial because it helps your brain continue to remember and continue to analyze these moments so that you can figure out what's happening a little bit more quickly than you might have if you weren't really paying attention to this. Let me show you what I mean. Okay, so as I said, I've been jotting these down as I go. On the 8th of July, when I did my very first read aloud, I wrote down this jot right here. And it said, the time at the beginning of the chapter. That was weird, right? And I mentioned that just now. I wrote about it immediately, and here it is. But when I continued to read today, I noticed actually that there's a time at the beginning of the next chapter too. And so since I'm in a virtual notebook, what's great about it is I can go in here and just add this additional note here, my additional date. And since I think these obviously go together, then I've got my proof, I've got all my information right here together. It's a quick edit and it's pretty easy. I also noticed that the verbs are kind of all in the present tense. And let me just look at this and I'll show you what I mean by that. Let's see, table of contents, chapter 2. All right, I reach for the bowl. I reached for it, but I reach for it like I'm doing it right now. Far is he peeks around the corner, not is peeking, not peaked, but peeks, like he's doing it right now. He gives the all clear. It's not something that's happening in the past or anything like that. So that makes me feel like time is incredibly important. And the fact that we are seeing everything that happens the moment it happens seems really important. You're seeing. Okay, so I think that the time at the beginning of the chapter, what it indicates is that everything that happens during that chapter for all 4 characters is happening at the exact same time. Not for, in, or at. Okay. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that that's what's happening here, so I'm entering it in. If I found out later that I was wrong, it's really easy to just come back in here and edit that, or not, because what's important is that you spent the time thinking about it, not that you're perfect in what you think. All right? All right, so let's go back and look at this one. This is one of my notes from the first read aloud that I did. Her eyes linger on me and my neck burns. All right, let me see. This is back in chapter 1. Okay. All right, here we go. Chapter 1. Okay, I think actually that I noticed this later. I didn't actually identify this during my read aloud, but it was really weird, and so I went ahead and highlighted it to bring it up today. So let's just look and make sure we can remember what's happening here. Essentially, the principal is talking to all the students, and she's just giving her beginning of year or beginning of semester speech. And then Autumn is noticing or reflecting on the fact that the principal seems to know them all very well. And while the principal's speaking, apparently this happens. Her eyes linger on me, Autumn, and my neck burns. I reach to the chair to my right, but it remains as it was when the assembly started, empty. So the principal is looking over at her, and she unconsciously sort of gropes for the empty chair next to her. So someone is missing there who should be there. And based on what I've read so far, I think that the person who should be there is probably her brother, Tyler. I think, or I guess, should be in the chair, I should write. I think that he was supposed to start school today. And maybe she's embarrassed that he's not there for some reason. And that would make sense why the principal's looking at her about that. I could be wrong, but that is what I think is happening in her head right now. I think maybe she's embarrassed that her brother didn't come when he said he was going to come, and a principal's looking at her for that. I don't know. Okay, as it continued, she says, I tried that and I lost. Now I'd rather escape. Let's look for that. Okay, so now this, if I remember right here, it's talking about how her brother, she's thinking that her brother would tell her that Principal Trenton's words are true, that the world is at her fingertips and that it's up to her to make the future as best as she can. And then she says, I tried that and I lost. Now I'd rather escape. So now I'm thinking that mostly what this is referring to is just how hard her life is, which we know because we know that her mom probably died after this accident like a couple of years ago. And also that this has happened, that, that her father apparently has not been stopped from drinking or from hitting her, and her family is falling apart. So these are very serious issues, very big problems that are happening for her. And I don't know what she tried though. I'm honestly, I'm gonna put exactly that. I don't know what she's tried, but she clearly wants to escape her kind of difficult life. abusive dad. I'm putting that down as I feel like that would be like that's the biggest issue that's kind of causing her to be upset right now and to want to escape her life. All right, let's continue. What I want you to do actually is I'm going to remind you about this moment, and then I want you to write down what you're thinking about this particular issue. What do you think when you read about this? So this is Sylvia, and Sylvia, she says, I sink deep into my seat and glance at the empty place next to Autumn. He's not coming after all. He'd have been here by now. He won't come. I'm safe here. He won't come. The knot in my stomach unfurls and recoils with every twist and turn of my mind. I could ask Autumn about Tyler, but she's lost in memories. Okay, so what I want you to do right now is I want you to go ahead and pause the video, and I want you to, in the space provided, I want you to type in what you think about this particular quote. What do you think this means? Why did the author include it? It's weird. Why is she thinking this? Okay, go ahead and pause now. Okay, welcome back. I hope that you actually have taken the time to jot down what you're thinking. I am hoping that you will not change. You don't need to change your answer because there's nothing wrong with any particular answer that you might have. There's nothing wrong unless you said that you think she is sure that aliens are going to come down out of the sky and blow up the school right now. Because there's been no indication that any aliens are in this story yet. There's no reason to think that there's going to be aliens now. Otherwise, so that's kind of why it's not really a good answer. But there's nothing else that you're going to put that is not a good answer. So if you haven't, again, one more chance, please pause your video before you see what I have chosen to write. Okay. So let's just go here. What I put in here is that I think that this definitely confirms what I thought earlier about that this empty seat is supposed to be for Tyler and that it's about her brother. And then I also said that it seems like Sylvia and he have like a secret fight going on because she's worried that she's not safe. Like she's safe here now because she knows he's not coming. She's excited that he's not coming. I'm thinking, what if Sylvia is lying to Autumn about something? It could end up being a big deal. It could be part of the conflict of the story. I don't know yet, but that's what I'm thinking. I don't know, for the Twitter thing, I still don't understand, but I do have some unknown characters, and I'm wondering if CJ, is that supposed to be Claire? Because her name begins with a C. That's kind of all I've got there. The other notes that I have here are based on my second read aloud, okay? So what I want you to do right now is I actually would like you to listen to the read alouds for the next chapter, for chapter 2. And as you're listening to those read alouds, I want you to pause at these weird moments that are highlighted as we go. Pause at these weird moments and go ahead, and I want you to fill out the rest of this organizer as your assignment for today's lesson. Okay, so once again, you're doing exactly what I've asked you to do so far, what I've been working on, which is paying attention to these weird moments and then making inferences or predictions about them. And what I'm asking you to do is to listen to chapter 2. There are 2 different read alouds that go along with chapter 2. Listen to it, and as you listen, fill in what you think these moments mean. Okay? All right. As always, if you have any questions, give me an email, contact me during office hours, or reach me on Google Hangouts. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye.